As the tomato turns, so does local news. Welcome to JTP TV.
The Mayor of Montclair, Mayor Jerry Freed, who's going to talk to us a little bit about complete streets, which I think was going on. I don't know if anybody's been up and down the avenue in Montclair, but it's been transformed, and I think Jerry has a handout here. You could each pass it. Welcome, Mayor Freed.
Good evening.
Thanks for being here.
Very happy to be here. Former mayor as of July 1st. Once a mayor, always a mayor.
Once a mayor, always a mayor, that's what they tell me, right?
Technically speaking, we have a new mayor and a new council in town. Formerly the mayor of Montclair, I also was a founder of Bike and Walk Montclair, which is a transportation advocacy group, bike and pedestrian advocacy group in Montclair. And that's kind of what got me involved in government to begin with, was trying to get more safer streets in Montclair, bike lanes and shoulders and amenities for pedestrians. Montclair adopted a complete streets policy, the first in the state, in 2008, late 2008, and 3 months later the state of New Jersey adopted a complete streets policy. It was a late action of the Corzine administration. The Christie administration has been very supportive of complete streets since then, and the DOT Commissioner Simpson is a real big advocate, and you may have seen op-eds in the papers, in the state papers, and press releases from him, because the administration is really strongly supporting the complete streets notion. What is complete streets? People think of complete streets as, some people think, oh, it's about bike lanes, or it's about crosswalks and amenities for pedestrians, and it is those things, but when we talk about complete streets, we talk about it in terms of 5 E's, and the first E is engineering, and that's the types of things that most people associate with it. The improvements to intersections that you see not so much in suburbia now, but you see in Hoboken and of course in New York City and around the world, trying to make the streets as usable for pedestrians and bicyclists as possible, in some cases moving the parking around and the cars around to be able to do that. So that's the engineering part of it. The second E is education, which is really letting not only drivers know and about obeying the rules of the road, which unfortunately many drivers don't drive the speed limit. They don't stop for pedestrians in crosswalks, which is the relatively new law, stop and stay stopped until the pedestrians cross. But also for cyclists to know that they're following the rules, that they're not biking on the sidewalk, that they're not just running through red lights. When cyclists are on the road, they're a vehicle and they've got to obey the same rules as drivers do. So it's very important to have education on both sides. And then, of course, education of parents and children about safe ways to cross and walk to school and things like that. So there's an education effort involved with that. So that's the second E. The third is encouragement, which of course you need to have some of the infrastructure in place and some of the education in place before you start telling people, oh, it's safe, go on out and just cross wherever you like or do whatever you want. You need to have that encouragement, particularly with kids. Follow on the tail of education and enforcement efforts. And that's the fourth E is enforcement, the types of things that I'm sure your police do when they can, but we don't really have the resources to be able to enforce all the traffic laws all the time. So you probably have that are done either by the local police or with the help of the county to be able to make drivers aware that, yes, the speed limit, really that actually has some meaning, and yes, you do need to yield to pedestrians in the crosswalk. And then the fifth E is evaluation. Obviously, you can't really do anything effectively unless you can measure where you're at, what you're doing, and what the effect is. And those 5 E's are what complete streets really are, beyond just the things that one might imagine, or one might say, oh, it's just about bike lanes. It's really as much about pedestrians and drivers as it is about bicyclists, and it's also about mass transit users, people riding the bus. So I'm here tonight just very briefly to encourage you to adopt a policy, and I'm going to make my case very short, but my understanding is they're moving towards essentially a mandate to have complete streets certification, that you'll need to get a complete streets policy. That's not locked in stone yet, but they're definitely encouraging it very strongly. So Basically, getting your foot in the door now is a really big help for both funding and also assistance from the state. The Department of Transportation's main reason for being such advocates of complete streets are two main things. It's about pedestrian crashes and safety for pedestrians on the streets, and then also the Department of Health is encouraging more walking and biking as a health effort, particularly for kids. We know they've got this obesity epidemic. But the safety is a real big deal. New Jersey is a pedestrian, I think it's called the pedestrian safety. The main selling point, I would say, for you all here in Caldwell is that there are very few municipalities that have adopted complete streets policies, and it's a real strong directive from the state, from the governor's office, from the Department of Transportation, and from an alliance of many different organizations that are supporting it. So, frankly, doing it sooner rather than later is a really good idea. I know that it gives you points on applications for state funding, for state projects, for transportation projects. There's a checkbox on it that Sherry Davis at DOT, she's got that in there. You have to sort of accommodate this for certain projects. And also, I think you're in the process of getting Sustainable Jersey certification. Is that true?
Yes.
So that process, too, Complete Streets is a part of right now. Pedestrian safety focused state. It's one of those states that has a high pedestrian fatality rate on the roadways, and that's why the Complete Streets policies are being pushed so much by DOT. The partners in this effort are also really important for you to consider, looking at adopting a policy. The major partners in New Jersey are, that I can count, are AARP, for all your senior citizens, and to know the Complete Streets is advocacy for safer crosswalks, and AARP is doing a big push. They're working with Tri-State Transportation to be able to get more policies adopted and better policies. North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority, also a big supporter of Complete Streets. Meadowlink and the other TMAs are big on it. And then the planning groups in Jersey. So this is just a little brief overview. I'm asking you to take a close look at it. I'm available to be able to give you more information about it. And I can give you a couple of stories real briefly about what our experience is in Montclair. But I would say probably the most important factoid, I would say, is that I add up about $1 million in grants and about $500,000 in no interest loans for projects that I would call Complete Streets projects in Montclair. This includes safe routes to schools. It includes this $500,000 zero interest loan, which we got for the project that's on the other side of that flyer there, which is just being completed right now, as well as a technical assistance grant to help us produce a bike and pedestrian master plan. And right now we have a $200,000 grant that's going on to help us look at our land use and circulation and produce a land use and circulation element for our master plan. And that's the way master plans will be redone throughout the state, I think, once this pilot program goes through, because it's really combining how people get around, what assets you have in your community, how are people going to get to them, and also how they can get in and out, how people can commute to work and move around your town. There's a whole element of economic development that's part of this whole thing, which is why I think your Main Street people are excited about it. That's why our Business Improvement District was very supportive of it. And that project that that article was about, that was supported by our most conservative, and I mean, I know you'd be surprised if we have conservative people in Montclair, but our most conservative group, which is our Capital Finance Committee, who are a lot of people who have banking background, and they basically more than twice pay for itself in increased commercial property values. I know you're a lot like Montclair. You get nothing from your commercial properties, not a whole lot anyway. Montclair, I think we get 9% from commercial. So looking at the improvement in property values, commercial property values, they supported borrowing $1 million to do this project. Fortunately, we were able to get some good loans on it. And I have other stories, but I guess what I'd like to ask you to do is consider this policy. I can come back, talk to you more, help you with it. I'm sort of at the end of a term working with New Jersey Department of Transportation project that's out of Rutgers that's really helping other people, other communities get their Complete Streets policies done and implemented. But basically I'd ask you to take a look at your community. You have Complete Streets. It's not some magic wand. You probably have plenty of places in Caldwell, more attractive area for people to come and live, and also to shift some of the burden of municipal services off of the residential property taxes. So if you have any questions,
Does the county have a complete streets?
yes, I should have mentioned that in there. The county
Where
actually in April adopted a complete streets policy, and it's the best county policy in the state. And actually, Essex County really is the leader in the state now. I think there are 33 policies. The last 3 were all Essex County. Newark, there was an announcement last week that Newark adopted a policy. Irvington and Glen Ridge all adopted policies. So they joined Bloomfield, Montclair, and Maplewood. And South Orange and West Orange are both considering complete streets policies. So, that's not to achieve. Member of the Essex County Environmental Commission today, and they're working on a resolution to help the county make its policy have some bite to it, and things like improving Bloomfield Avenue are a really important part. So I hope actually next summer to be able to lead some kind of walk on all of Bloomfield Avenue where we can go from town to town, take photographs, look at what's good, look at what can be improved, and work with the county to be able to say, this is our main artery, let's make sure it connects up our towns as effectively as possible.
That would be huge. That would be terrific.
Well, we're getting there.
That's a great goal. It really is, because you're right, it is the main, and it's the busiest thoroughfare through the county.
Yeah, and I imagine in Caldwell, there are places where it's pretty hazardous to cross, or you're on one side and hazardous to cross, or you're on one side and you stay on that side, or you don't think about getting across it so easily.
The safest day here in Caldwell is Halloween, because we have Safe Halloween Day on Halloween, and it's in Bloomfield Avenue, and all the shop owners buy like 2,000 pieces of candy, and the kids go up and down trick-or-treating in the shops. But the added piece is we have our police out there crossing, and they're they're up and down the street, people are doing the speed limit, and some people get annoyed because the traffic does back up.
Yeah.
But it is the safest day to be on Bloomfield Avenue, and it makes such a difference when everybody's doing 25 miles an hour and obeying the speed limit.
And that's a lot of what it is, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not extreme measures. I think the most effective things that we've had in Montclair is working with Essex County to do these road.
As the tomato turns, so does local news. Welcome to JTP TV.